integrate the bed frame assembly into the bot itself. And one of the first things that I want to look at is the Z motors. So we want to make sure that these Z motors, this mounting bracket, is sitting flat on the side rail there behind the side plate. The other thing is you need to make sure that the Z rod here assembly is actually sitting on the bearing. So this one's up a little bit. You just want to make sure on both sides that the bracket and the pulley are correct, and that you also have tension on your belt. The reason you do that is because you're going to use this whole motor assembly basically as your spacer whenever you put your bed frame assembly on. The other thing that you want to look at is I like keeping my nut cups low here, so you don't have to bring them down as far whenever you get the bed installed. So you want to make sure that the threaded holes are facing inward, so you can use your hardware to attach the bed frame assembly to the nut cups. And with that, let's look at the hardware that we're going to be using. So we're going to have M5x30s in our V group wheels. We're going to have 6 of those. We're going to have 6 flat washers, 6 lock nuts. We're going to have 6 eccentrics. Remember, we put the black mark on the small side. Black mark goes away from your whatever rail you're attaching it to, so it'll be loose, and you'll see that in just a minute here. And then we also have 2 M5x12s that will attach the bed frame into the nut cup block. I have a little grease, an Allen wrench, 8mm, and of course I have my trusty drill motor. So we first start out by getting something that will lift your bed frame up, because if you don't do this, the lower wheels are going to go behind the side plate here, and it's not going to be easy to put them on. So if you get it about midway here, or at least up over the edge, you'll be able to easily put the bed frame assembly on. What I've done here is I've off-shifted the panduit to the left side because of the way that my box is here, just so it sits here and here on the bottom of the frame and basically makes it level. So I kind of take it through the top and thread it through the top, and then we're going to look at the V group wheels. We're going to get the V group wheels to line on the Z uprights, and then just roll it down to the top of the box and let it sit there. So our next piece that we'll do is we're going to do the grease trick. All of the rest of them that are on here are going to be eccentrics. So we're going to put a little grease around the hole. We're going to take the black mark here and we're going to face it away from our rail to make it the widest point. Put a little bit of grease once again on our hardware. You'll have to push the screw back and line it up with the hole, and you might have to push on the back of the bed frame to get it to line up. What's happening on the 2 sides are not playing well with each other right now. I think we're a little bit better, and there we go. So now we'll put a flat washer on the back side, a lock nut, so again, if you hold the nut, your eccentric won't come out. It's got that little shoulder that goes in there. There you go. 1 down, 5 to go. So now you just go to the front. We're going to do all one side. And then we're going to do the other side. So here is the little shoulder that's on there. That is going to go into the hole. Once again, the black mark is going to face away from your Z upright. Every once in a while you get a eccentric that doesn't want to go in real easily. You just get a pair of pliers and get it started. And gently, there it goes, it fell into place. Now you see that we're not square, so I can take this, let's say square, the black mark is not facing truly forward, so that's been adjusted. Once again, that's to make it as loose as you possibly can, which gives you a little forgiveness when you go to put these screws in. First one in kind of holds it in place, and it's a lot easier to put the other ones in. So I slide it back, and it slips right in there. So I'm just putting the V group wheel actually on the Z upright on this groove where it's going to be traveling on, and bring it up to the eccentric. Okay, and before we go to the other side, all of these that I put on, I'm going to wiggle to make sure that they're not loose, to make sure that they didn't gall up, that they fully engaged, and they did. So we're finished with just initially putting on this side. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other side with the other three wheels, and we put only the front three wheels on because the bed already had the back three. So now we're on the right side of the bot. We're going to do the exact same thing. So we put the V group wheel on the V part of the upright. We're going to have to adjust this a little bit. This first wheel's usually a little hard to get on. And finagle it a little bit. There we go. It's a little hard is because you don't have a perfectly level, perfectly square surface that you're putting this on with initially. So flat washer lock nut, and see this one right here. It's not on all the way. So let's make sure that we can get it on all the way and that it's not stripped. That's stripped. So we'll go to the next one. We have to take that one out. Slide that through. Guess what we'll put on next? Oh, good job. Flat washer, and then a lock nut. You win the tricycle with the square wheels. And that's why you start slow and then you can finish fast. What we're going to try to do here is see if we can go backwards with this one and take it off. So I got the regular Allen wrench off. Also by putting a little grease on here when it does gall, you do have a little bit more forgiveness. Now what we'll do is we'll put another piece of hardware in there. Be back in just a moment. Okay, now back after a short break, after we've stripped the threads on here, we put a new piece of hardware in here. They usually give you extra hardware in the kit, just in this case. Unfortunately, I should have showed you that you might have to file down some of the threads to be able to get the eccentric off, because whenever you gall this up, it usually sits a little bit higher than this diameter here. So you get a file, something like that. Just try to be easy with it so you don't damage the inside of your eccentric. So now where we pick up is I wipe the grease off. So we're going to do what we've been doing, is putting a little bit of grease on here to hold the eccentric. Black mark towards the front, away from your upright there. Here's the upright. Grease again. And our flat washer. And I'm using a new lock nut too. There you go. And I'll adjust the eccentric so it's kind of squared up on there, flush with the front, or squared up to the front. So now we'll do the same thing. We'll wiggle the wheels. You did get to see one that was not tightened all the way and what would happen. So now once we've done that, what we're going to do is we need to attach these holes in the bed side plate to the holes that are on the inside of your nut cut. So remember, keep it spun and squared up on the inside. And you might have to push it just to get it to slide in on both sides. So you let it sit on the motor. So again, I'm pushing down on it to make sure that the Z-rods are actually set down on the lower bearing blocks. So I kind of pinch the Z upright and the back of the bed plate to make sure that these two wheels are fully engaged with the back of your Z upright. When that's done, I'll start adjusting the eccentrics. And it's just by feel. You go a little bit, check it, a little bit more, check it. Okay, so we're getting a little pressure there, which is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking to basically capture these two back ones so the bed isn't tilting. I'm still going to hold it because it's a big lever arm. And I'm just going to start adjusting these front ones. That back one's basically just aiding, pinching it. You want to do a little bit on each one. You don't want to try to go directly to tightening it up. And all we're doing is you should be able to still spin the wheel, but there should be some friction on it. So that's pretty good right there. Maybe a little bit more. And it's very, very small moves that you're making with the eccentrics. An easy way to remember this is these two right here to tighten them up. If you go this way to tighten them up, if you get too tight, you know you have to go this way to loosen it. Now the two front ones here, if you go in towards the center this way, that's going to be tightening it. That's how I do it. And then to loosen it, if it gets too tight, we're going to go the opposite way. So basically, you look at the center between these two wheels, you're going towards each other. Same thing on the side one, you're going towards each other. And you do that on both sides, kind of symmetrically there, so it tries to keep the bed level. Top one's still a little loose. And so now that we've got that, we're going to take this one, and tighten this one up. Or should I say snug it up? So there we go. Tightening that one snugged those pretty good. I'm going to tighten this one a little bit more. That way it snugs these up to this rail, because you don't want your outside ones trying to push the rail in. You want them touching. That's why you want them. You want to be able to spin them, but you want some friction on it. And then any kind of pinching action that you have, you want to do it right here on front and back. So these can be a little bit tighter. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of a final torque on all of these. You saw I had to lift it up because that's the reason why we put it on the box, is because that wheel hides behind the side plate. And with spinning these eccentrics, it can cut into the side plate a little bit. That's why I like coming back and making sure that it's tight. Check it one more time to make sure everything's snug. You can make adjustments if you need to. I think this needs to be snugged up a little bit more. And that's pretty good. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Just a mirror image. I like lifting it up and down to make sure that we have full engagement with these two wheels. Once again, we're going to go towards the other wheel to tighten it. Okay, now we're going to go to the front. And they're moving a lot, you have to remember, because you made your eccentric stick out the furthest point. Your wheels are spread out the furthest point away from the center line of your Z upright. That one's starting to touch. That one's starting to touch. Just a little bit more. Once again, a little friction. Go. Now what we'll do is we'll come to this one. And this one, as I'm spinning it, I can feel it get a little bit looser, more loose, however you like to say that. Okay, this back one needs to be snugged up now. So I did my pre-adjustment. Now I want to come back and tighten these. Something you can see right here, there's a little aluminum shaving that's on there from spinning it around. By putting the grease on there, you cut down on that. You'll still have a little bit of that happening, but the grease will prevent a lot of galling, because that little eccentric on there is stainless steel and you have aluminum on the side plate. So this wheel up here, whenever I tightened it up, ended up getting a little loose. add a little bit of, give it a little bit of snug right there. That feels pretty good. So then, one of the final things that I do before I attach the bed frame is I want to make sure that it's freely traveling. So I'll bring it up, and I like to hold the bottom of the bed cross rail in the back, and that way I can feel all the screws, all the feed group wheels, to see if they're still about as snug as they were down at the bottom. And I like to check the middle too. One way that you know that if you have your feed group wheels too tight is if you let go of this and it stays at the top, it's way too tight. So it should be able to drop immediately under its own weight. So it's rolling freely. Now, one of the things that you want to watch out for when we are making this is you have your upper limit switch stop here, your lower one on the other side. The limit switches aren't mounted on this yet, but if the lower limit switch is down like this and you lower it down to the top of the motors, you'll basically destroy the lower limit switch. So that's the reason why with that subassembly put the nut on where we did. See, you have plenty of room there, no interference, you won't damage the lower limit switch. So now, the last thing that we have to do is attach the bed frame to the nut cup. So once again, I'm going to make sure that I push this down, the pulley down, that it's fully seated. And what we're doing is we're looking in these side holes for the threads to start lining up with the nut cup. And there they are, M5x12. And this, I always use a Allen wrench to start it because I want to be able to feel it. So you want to put it in without it binding. So you see I'm pushing on the top of the bed frame side panel to make sure it's sitting on that motor. There's the other one. You can see they're freely spinning in. 2 fingers. So now that I know that, I know that it's the pulley sitting all the way down. I can do a final torque on it. Then we'll come to the other side, do the exact same thing. And you want to double check the pulley because here you are, you're spinning this around. So there is a potential that it could raise up on you just a little bit. Be careful you don't get your finger in between the belt and the pulley. If you do, you'll know why immediately. So there comes the nut cup. Freely went in. So there we go. Freely spinning in. I'm pushing down on the top of the side panel. I do want to go in slow. At the end, go ahead and make sure it's torqued down. And that's how you mount the bed frame assembly